We think our animals are cute when they're chubby. We all see pictures, and the problem is what we think is normal is actually overweight. When we see 40-pound cats, then we all get up in arms and go, oh, how could somebody do that to their animal? But there are a lot of 15 and 18-pound cats that should be 10 to 12 pounds. And we just look at them and go, oh, they're cute, they're cuddly, they got a big woobus, that saggy belly underpart. And we don't think that much about it. And what I find particularly is people with big, massive breeds of dogs, the Rottweilers, the Malamutes, the Cane Corsos, some of the Mastiffs, the dogs that are supposed to be big and muscular, what they really are is big and fat. And people proudly come into my office and say, oh, I have a 180-pound Rottweiler. But yeah, the problem is he really should be 120. So just packing more pounds on doesn't make them more masculine or tougher or whatever it is that we're trying to make these animals into. It just makes them fat. So particularly on our dogs, when you look at them from the side, you want to see a waist. It should tuck up under the loin area. Fat is not just, the animal being too round. Fat cells secrete inflammatory hormones. They cause inflammation in the body. So the chronic arthritis that we get associated with being overweight is not just because there's extra weight on the joints, it's because there's actually inflammatory hormones being sent out through the system, causing inflammation throughout the body. So we get things like autoimmune thyroiditis. We get things like chronic arthritis. Arthritis is not just a description of joints that don't look so good on x-ray. It's an ongoing inflammatory disease. It is not just we get crunchy stuff in our joints. That's ongoing inflammatory disease. And it is aided and abetted by the inflammatory hormones that are put out by fat cells. So we get tons of inflammation in the body. We get inflammation in the pancreas, which then causes pancreatitis, which then leads to diabetes. We see it in people with type 2 diabetes. We see it in animals. And so there was a woman with a Cavalier that for years complained that her dog was overweight, fed dry kibble that was very high in carbohydrates, which clearly the dog was not processing well. And the dog was overweight for years and years and years. And every time I would chime in and say, you really should switch the diet on that dog. No, that's too difficult. No, that's too expensive. There are a million reasons. Well, when the dog became diabetic, which was very predictable because the dog was almost twice what its weight should be, then the dog became diabetic. And then my answer was, well, now that's costing you more money. And by the way, the dog continued to eat dry kibble and developed cataracts and succumbed to the diabetes because it was very difficult to manage. So I look at those things and I say, you know what, they're predictable and they're also preventable. Now, there are some genetic things that will contribute to that. Some breeds are more prone to obesity, but that just means we need to be more vigilant. Animals that are fed a high carbohydrate diet will tend toward obesity. They don't process it very well. And kitty cats in particular that are fed dry kibble, I see them every year they come in. They're cute kittens, and then when they're a year old, they're a normal weight, and then every year they put on a pound or two. Well, over 10 years, that's 10 pounds on a cat. So instead of having the 10-pound cat, we now have the 20-pound cat. And that 20-pound cat, guaranteed, is going to come back in with urinary tract issues. It's going to come back in with diabetes. It's going to come in with pancreatitis. It's going to come in with liver problems, fatty liver. So it's pretty predictable. But obesity is not just a cute animal that is overweight. That is a boatload of inflammation walking around, looking for other things to happen. Diabetes, arthritis, thyroid disease, you name it. So, It is pretty important to keep our animals at a nice lean weight. Huskies tend to stay skinny, Scott. My aunt had a male unneutered husky, and man, that dog was always thin. He exercised a lot, they walked a lot with him, but he lived to be very old and was really healthy. A lot of people would have said, wow, your dog is way too skinny. But Huskies do, I mean, they're a working breed. Your Cavalier makes you feel like you're starving him. He's always hungry. I know. But you know what? It's up to us to be the parents. If you had a child who said, I want cookies all day long, are you going to feed him cookies all day long? Some people do, I guess. But, you know, just because your dog says they want cookies all day, give them broccoli, give them green beans. You know what? If they spit it out and they don't like it, then I guess they're really not hungry. Doesn't matter. Dogs do tend to stay skinnier. Yeah, they do. Their metabolism is higher. Anybody who says that spaying and neutering does not contribute to obesity is wrong. Their metabolism definitely changes, and you need to change their diet after they're spayed and neutered because they will become obese, and you should check their thyroid function 6 months later because a lot of times it will tank after spaying and neutering. We are messing with the hormonal system, the endocrine system. Dogs were never meant to live on kibble and drugs. Ooh, I like that. It's a Facebook page, I guess. I like that.